Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Troy, and this is my guest today, Lawrence, aka A Punk with Toys.
Hello, it's good afternoon here.
Yeah, right? Well, that's what happens in Detroit. Everything is later. All right,
Two
let's
things.
quickly say hello to the chat because we've got a few people popping in now. We've got hello, Stanley's Toy Channel. Welcome. Thanks for popping in. I think you have a video I need to go watch, and I will do that, I promise. Thanos, good morning. I did watch your video, just haven't commented yet. But it was good. I'm enjoying those. Go check out
I did
Thanos.
not watch it, Thanos. I did not.
Well, you'll be excited because next week is when he starts the reviews of the more naughty stuff. So.
Oh boy.
You
How is
ready?
he still on? Like, how are you still? How are you
The
still?
luck of it. I mean, he survived. Scott Knightlick did not. So, good morning, well, good afternoon, maybe wherever you are. But here on the West Coast, we can get away with good morning, digital diarrhea.
Is
Good
Scott not
morning,
doing
Toy
videos?
Mama. Huh?
Is Scott not doing videos anymore?
Not on YouTube. He's not.
Really?
Yeah. If you go to his channel, it says this channel has been removed from multiple copyright strikes. Anyway, good morning, Toy Mama. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Go hang out with the family and watch us later. That way, you can catch up on all the, because, Lawrence and I get inappropriate. So, uh, good morning, Aaron. Well, Aaron will be my guest in 3 weeks, I think. Next week is Eldor. And the week after that is Corey from Make Shape Create. And then it is Aaron. So, yep. Good to see you. Just everyone saying hello to each other in the chat. Gotta love to see it. All right.
Hey, can I say quickly, Aaron, the toy enhancer will be on Thursday with a friend in 2 weeks.
Excellent. Well, he's which is good because I have been enjoying his content quite a bit.
I'm just reminding him in case he forgot.
Oh yeah, well that's true. He might.
I always feel weird because I'm like scheduling like almost 2 months out.
Yeah.
When I do that, and it's every other week, and sometimes like, hey, are you still on? Because if you're not, I just need to know.
Yeah. I do that too, though. I schedule well, as you know, because we've been talking about this. Well, we have been talking about your return visit since right out the green room right after your first one. So, but
Yeah.
I try. Well, also because like since I like people to actually color stuff, you got to get it set up so people have time to pick out pictures and print it because not everyone has a printer.
That sounds crazy.
And not everyone has a printer that works, and that includes mine, because mine sometimes will just be like, oh, like, you wanted to print stuff? Not today, lady, not today.
And what's funny about that is Tony hits me up like 2 days before he's going to go on. He's like, I got a question about my printer. I'm like, all right, first off, you live in Arizona. I live in Michigan.
Right.
Second, I fix copy machines. But shoot. And he asked the question, I'm like, you need a new printer.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're throwaway machines.
Well, I mean, mine is HP. Is it still Packard? Whatever. Obviously, I need a new one that's not an HP, like, because they suck. But they do have this digital ink program. I'm not sponsored, so that's not something I need to state. But I will say I get so many printed pages per month for like $12. And it's more than I got when I was just buying the cartridges alone. So, although they are not my favorite right now, the savings on ink and getting the cartridges just in the mail, it's pretty cool. So,
have you contacted anyone about maybe finding a sponsorship for the pencils or crayons?
I have not yet. I've been stalking it out. I want to get a little bit bigger before I start all of that. Because I do watch a particular influencer, she does YouTube, but she's more about Instagram stuff, but she does talk about like when it's time to ask about brand deals and how to approach brands to say like you're good. So I've been watching her stuff to get pointers into when it's time to approach a few art brands.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's different for everyone and how they feel about it.
yeah,
I feel like in this, well, I don't know, I can't say about like adult coloring, but I can definitely say about toys. Like, God forbid you would get a brand deal because no one, I mean, everyone called you a
right.
shit. If
Well,
Hasbro
that's
was sending your product and
yeah,
paying you or Mattel, you never hear the end of it. Now, maybe if it's a smaller company, people, will never call you and they'll defend how they're not shills, even
right.
though they may have a figure made by the person.
Well, I look
But
at it like this. YouTube does not. I mean, some of us aren't making anything yet. Point blank. And if you're not to the point where you can monetize, like you're not making anything off of it. So if a company reaches out, and even once you're monetized, it's not like the odds are a lot. Your YouTubers, your favorite YouTubers, most of us are doing this because we love what we're doing and we enjoy it. It don't pay the bills. So if a company comes along and says, "Hey, here's some free toys if you'll review it," and you call them a shill, either you're independently wealthy or you're a bitter asshole. Anyway, um, yeah, and it's I haven't had enough coffee for the filters to be completely on, peeps. So and plus Lawrence is here. I'm also less reserved around Lawrence.
well,
You know,
you know me.
I do, which is why when you said Care Bears, I knew exactly why. But what has been funny is when I've told people we're gonna do Care Bears this week. I've had a couple of people when I said, and Lawrence, and I'll add, and Lawrence picked it, and they're like, no, no. And I'm like, yeah, he has a great story. You have to watch to hear it, though.
Well,
So quickly,
I
let's
mean,
get quickly run to the official stuff. This is the page you picked, correct? The working together is fun.
yes, that is the only one that I printed up. I thought it had the most on it.
Yeah, no, it's a good one, and it has really quick so that we have to do the official YouTubey stuff first. It has Share Bear, and this is the more modern Share Bear. The original one had like a Sunday on it. And then this one is Love a Lot Bear. So, and I'm not as familiar with all of them because I had Birthday Bear as a kid, and my brother had Tenderheart Bear. And then I had a Cheer Bear, one of those action figures, like the posable ones. So, the fun thing about coloring Care Bears is learning about them. So. All right, and then I'm coloring with, I'm going to use some of these at the end for the sky. This is a water soluble thingy, crayon. And then I've got somewhere around here my color pencils, which are, I'm going to use the same thing Lawrence is using. If you remember last time he used crayons, and I've convinced him this time to upgrade to the Crayola color pencils. And so we're both going to use those. So it'll be fun.
And did you put a link to those in your description?
There should be a link to those in the description, which is, thank you. See, Lawrence, this is why you're on. Yes, there are links below in the description to the various tools and coloring utensils that I use through Amazon. I am an affiliate. I get a small commission if you buy anything through my links. Even if you don't want to buy something that I've linked to, if you just click through using that link, other things you buy will also count. So if you need to go buy $300 in G.I. Joe action figures, you could do it through Lawrence or you could do it through me. Either way, we both appreciate it. So, all right, that's all the official stuff. Quickly, Tony has joined. Hello, Tony. Do your backgrounds first or people will leave? That's true for a short, but for this, people are going to stay to see what Lawrence says.
What am I missing here with that?
Well, that's why if you watch my shorts, you notice how this is how we know you don't do what. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, I'm awful. Dude, listen. I'm awful.
I know you
when it
don't
comes-
watch them all. I know you watch some of them, but because you comment every so often. The reason I do all my shorts backgrounds to the front is when I did them originally, I would do the characters and then the backgrounds, and people would stop watching. So now, unless I'm
Really?
doing something fancy with the background, I do the background first.
Do
If
you
I'm
know why
doing
that
these,
is?
it's because people are narcissistic and they like watching me do the skin and the hair. No, I'm kidding. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I just play one on the internet.
Well, I was just wondering if there's like a reason for it because
There Brick and I were chatting about it, and Brick's theory is because most of like why we like art is, especially when it's art of other people, has to do with sort of seeing ourselves reflected. And it makes sense because in the channels that are strictly just adult coloring, the biggest people who are getting views over there, a lot of the biggest views are hair and skin tutorials. So if I ever do more adult coloring type of content outside of sort of nostalgia based toy stuff, you would suddenly see a lot of skin and hair videos. So
I watch a lot of skin videos, but usually you can't
I
get
yeah,
those on YouTube.
I don't think it's the same art. This is why you like Thanos' content.
No, that's the opposite type of skin I usually like seeing. But
Right. I know I missed somebody, and I'm trying to find. Did I say
listen,
Pain? Did I say Pain? Pain? Pain's toy sample.
I think
Pain
one
is
of the
here, you guys. There he is.
I think
Thanks.
one of the best things to being a content creator
And
is
Nolan. We got a Nolan, Lawrence. We got a Nolan. We've
Nolan
arrived.
is here. Okay,
Nolan's here. You guys, we've arrived. Thank you, Nolan. I appreciate you, Nolan, and I hope you know we all appreciate you. Because we do. And Alex, Black Phoenix. They are here. All right.
but
Sorry. Okay, we've got the official stuff out of the way. If we don't reply to your chats, it's because Lawrence and I both talk a lot, interrupt a lot, and won't stop. So just you're here for the show. Anyway.
I will stop. Allison, she's like a runaway train. All right, like we've had to have like when we do my own members only, we've had to discuss like, do we got to find some ways sometimes to get Allison to stop because she's on their runaway train.
Well, I just have a lot to say, and I'm used to being cut off by men. So once you get that opening, you just barrel through like the train. Like the train that, like, oh, wait, your mom is no longer with us. So never mind. I'm not going to do the train and your mom joke, but. I could have, but I'm nice. No, I'm not. I'm not a nice person. I'm a good person. I'm not a nice person.
Even at 48, I just love anytime someone that doesn't know throws out a mom joke or mom something, and I throw that out there that my mom's been dead since I've been 13, to watch the look on their face come to a screeching halt, because now normally they don't know me well enough
Right.
to know if I'm actually offended by it.
Right. If you're mad.
But I'm gonna do stuff like that. Just like I think I've told the story. You know, my buddy that I skate with, Tony. He's mixed, half black, half white.
Yeah.
But he looks black. And when people will try and describe him, if they don't know his name, they will use everything they can without ever saying, "Oh, he's black." And so I will make them feel so uncomfortable till they say it. And I'm like, why didn't you start with that? Because that first eliminates about 75% of the people here. You know,
well,
but
you know.
I listen to some guy, you know, try and describe him. He's really into like import cars, and I'm like, dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm gonna make this guy say everything possible till he finally feels so uncomfortable to describe someone by how they actually look.
Well, it's funny though because I have as somebody who has black friends.
Do you have
I
a
know
black
that sounds
friend?
cliche. I do though. I'm like my friend, and she's black. Although where I'm from in the South, you do have to say that so you can make sure that whoever you're talking to is not about to say something racist. Because there's nothing more awkward than meeting somebody talking about your friend, then they say something racist and you have to punch them out. So it's awkward, you know, like there's no bouncing back from that either. It's not like they're suddenly going to be like, well, we're cool now. Help me pick up my teeth. So
You'd be surprised what you can do.
all right. So the one disadvantage to this box of colored pencils is there is not a cream color in here, and I started needing cream for these clouds. Clouds should be creamy, guys.
The creamy clouds.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the clouds. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit, you guys.
So if you watch closely, I have my phone here so I can see the comments. You can probably watch Tony, who will probably message me about 5 times during this stream.
Yeah.
So, Tony, try not to, say anything too
Yeah,
inappropriate.
don't say anything inappropriate, Tony. The question is yeah, like you don't need to know if the drapes match the carpet or whatever.
Do
Let's
they?
see. I'm old, possibly. I don't know.
I'm old.
Hello, Mary. Welcome.
The funniest thing about that, about what you just said, there's Roman. You guys can hear him.
Hi, Roman.
When we were in high school, there was a girl, and she had blonde hair. I mean, just like that really fine blonde eyebrows,
like
and
corn silk.
out of nowhere, like
The
somehow
skin
it
was
came
like
up.
milk.
Yeah, it somehow came up, and I had never heard that. And she goes, "I can tell you right now, the drapes do not match the carpet." And I went,
As a ginger, I've been asked that since by adults too. Like the first time somebody asked me that, I was like 12, and it was an adult, a whole ass adult, and I looked at him. I didn't know what he was asking, and he shouldn't have been asking a 12-year-old anyway.
no.
Luckily, my father was in the room, and yeah. So anyway, we don't talk about that because I don't know what the statute of limitations on an ass whooping are.
No, I think that definitely determines an ass whooping.
Right. But for those curious, yes. But as I get older, the hair on my head gets darker. So it matches. Just it's some places are a summer color and others are an autumn.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Hey, Tony, you're on speakerphone right now. Why don't you say hi to Allison?
I know I'm fucking with you, bye.
Hi, Tony.
Don't fuck with me because you won't win.
Right? Come on, Tony. Come on, Tony. Tony's doing the Heather Locklear where he's the special guest star. Send it to Heather Locklear where you have too much to drink and get on the California Pacific Highway, Tony.
That is the Mr. Wonderful thing. He loves to try and call every time you're online. So
I would be inclined to take Mr. Wonderful's calls because often when he jumps on mine, it looks like he's in the Saw basement. I'm always concerned like we're going to be watching him on a live stream and suddenly that creepy ass puppet's going to roll into the background and be like, "Want to play a game, Travis?" And then he'll like have that bear trap thing on his head, and I'm not going to be able to turn off this. I'll just be the one who watches it and gets traumatized. So anyway. It does look like the Saw basement. He's got all that plastic sheeting up.
Yeah, I feel like he's been doing like construction in that thing for quite some time now.
Yeah, either like he doesn't know what the remodel is, or like he just keeps adding bodies beneath the concrete.
Oh, well, there's a good possibility there.
Yeah, that's possible. Travis, can't trust that one.
It's that name Travis. I've mentioned that before. The travesties out there. There's just something about that name. I'm not sure what it is, but there's definitely something about that name Travis.
I knew a Travis in college, and he would get drunk at parties, and he'd be like, "I'm really drunk. I should cheat on my girlfriend. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Not anything with you, ugly." And he wasn't unattractive, but like you have to shut that shit down. Because if you're even trying to be like, oh, you silly thing, like that's an unequivocal invite to a drunk dude. So you just have to be like, "Nothing with you, ugly," and then walk on and go make out with his friend where he can see who's cute.
So anyone that's wondering why.
Yeah, we should get to the real question, not Allison's questionable morality of the 90s. Let's talk about it. Matt, I don't know if you guys heard that in the back. Matt is playing games in his corner, and he just goes, "Of the 90s," as if, sir, as if. Anyway.
As if.
Hello, Kenzo. Happy Sunday. Anyway, so yeah, let's see. This is what happens when Lawrence and I hang out. This is what happened on your chat with a friend. This is why your show went so successfully, as it was a weird train wreck of inappropriate awesomeness. Everyone's like, "This is a cool show. We'll come back." Anyway, so yeah, wait. So anyway, Lauren, she picked Care Bears. Why are the Care Bears significant? Why would you do that?
Well, okay, so first off, you sent me over some GI Joe video or
I did
ones,
because
and I was like, you know what? They're kind of boring.
a little bit, yeah.
They're all drab, green, different things like that.
No, because I can't send you a Chuckles page.
Yeah, and to me, it's just like, let's do something different. Everyone expects GI Joe from me.
It's true.
And believe me, if you watch anything that I do, obviously I like other things. And did I get the right Care Bear? Isn't this one pink?
The one with the two hearts is pink, is hot pink, and then the one with
Okay.
the two lollipops is like a violet lavender.
Yeah.
In this box, it would be the violet purple color.
Yep, that's what I grabbed. So I threw out a couple things, and I love Care Bears. Now I don't know why I knew so much about Care Bears, and really my knowledge of the Care Bears isn't as extensive as my ex used to think. I just know, like, they come from Care-a-Lot, and they have the Care Bear cousins, and they fly around, and they live in their cars, and they have, I don't know, they live in the clouds and everything. But my stepdaughter, there was a time where they re-released the exact same Care Bears that we had as kids. And my sister played with Care Bears, so of course we had a whole bunch around the house. And I know before someone says, "Oh, sure, that's why you knew." Listen, if I played with Care Bears, I would obviously tell you I played with Care Bears. So, but Walgreens, for some odd reason, had these Care Bears. They were just kind of remakes, and they were like $6 each. They weren't expensive. And I started collecting them for her. I don't even think she even cared, to be honest. My stepdaughter. I don't think she ever really cared. So I don't think my daughter really cared about it. But I got to the point where there was like two that I couldn't find. And then I was able to find one of them. But there was always this one that I could never find. I can't even remember which one it was. It was not Grumpy Bear. Because I remember Grumpy.
Yeah, people were surprised you didn't pick Grumpy Bear.
Did you give me a good one with Grumpy?
I didn't, because
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't personally like Grumpy Bear. He's a ripoff of Grumpy from the Seven Dwarfs. So I was just like, I honestly tried to pick pictures that would be cool, but also that were a very, I'm never going to send somebody a super, there are a few people who've come on here who do art. So like I will send really elaborate pages for those people to pick from. I try not to do that to people who don't regularly do art.
That would be me.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to send you any, but I went there and I tried to find some stuff that I knew we could finish on stream, because that's also something I tried to do. I try to find something that I know my guest will be able to finish, because this is sort of time, especially people like yourself who don't do a lot of art or any art. The hour and a half to 2 hours we hang out here is probably the only art time you're going to get. So I want to pick something that you can finish during the stream so that you at least have this one completed page. And it's not sitting there half finished. Without you, I think Chris Plastic, when he came on, after he finished his page, he went and threw it up on he put it on his refrigerator. And it was, that's really fun to me that, somebody did a page, enjoyed it enough to throw it up on the refrigerator. It's a little ironic to do that, but that's the kind of irony I like. So anyway.
I have that picture somewhere that I did. I just don't know.
Yeah, you did really good on that last one with your crayons.
Yeah, I'm really good at coloring and keeping inside the lines at
my
late
traced
40s.
With there's some people who aren't that good, so congrats.
Listen, when it comes to coloring, I am not Michael J. Fox. Anyway,
really quick, Kenzo has a comment that we should highlight. See, Kenzo.
I'll let you.
Yeah, well, he's saying that you're a spoiled ass kid because his mom made him Cabbage Patch Kids. His folks couldn't afford them. So, yeah.
Well, again, I was looking for my daughter. And yes, I make no bones about it that I had more than most kids. Again, I won't tell the story again, but I do have the USS Flag that I got for Christmas along with 8 shipwrecks. But I also went to
You had
WrestleMania.
8 shipwrecks as a kid? Oh my god.
Actually, I had
What?
9, but I got 8 for Christmas, and I already had
Oh,
one.
wow.
It's a good
That's
story, but
amazing.
we'll save it for mine because
Yeah. You got to have
you
some
don't want
content
people
on
to tune out.
Monday. Right? You have to have something for Monday when you talk for 17 hours.
Yes. But anyway, back to the story. So there was one Care Bear that I don't even remember which one it was that I could never find. Mind you, I don't even know if we even have these Care Bears anymore. If we threw them away or gave them away, they're probably packed somewhere, to be honest, because I have a hard time throwing stuff away.
They live
But
in
there
your
was
crawl
one that
space.
I never found, and it
Wow.
drove me nuts. But my ex would always be like, she doesn't care. She doesn't even play with them. And I'm like, but you don't understand. She has them all but one. There's only one that's missing. And she's like, it doesn't matter. She doesn't care. And that was about the time I realized, in actuality, collectors should not have kids.
Right.
Because
Oh, I thought you were going to say you shouldn't be with her. But okay, yeah, that too.
no, because you realize that a collector thinks your kid has to have everything, and the kid really doesn't care that much all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have to have all the GI Joes because there were some that I never wanted, and I didn't get till I was an adult. So it's not like my dad ran around, but if I was my dad, I definitely would have been running around thinking, "No, you need to have tripwire." No, tripwire is stupid, Dad. He doesn't even come with a gun. Tripwire is stupid. He didn't come with a gun. I stand by that.
Digital Diarrhea thinks we need a new drinking game. Every time you mention your flag, people take a shot.
Well, you guys can come up with one. I mean, I'm
Not
not
like
drinking.
orange drinks, right?
Well, not like I would be doing it anyway. I'm just. It's not like I bring it up that much. You guys tend to bring it up more than I do.
Yeah, we
I
bring it up. Like we're the ones who instigate that, so it's funny. And everyone's like, "Here we go." It's like, no, literally, I'm trying to get him to tell the story again. Don't shame him. We need the story again because it's hilarious every time it happens. Like,
I wait for someone to actually say, you know what? Like when I'm on their stream, or like I'm in their comments, Pain. We'll use him as an example, and they bring it up, and I go to start talking about it, and I'm just waiting for someone to message me or be like, "All right, dude, it's enough. Like the joke's not funny anymore." But no one's done it yet, so we'll just keep doing it.
yeah,
Of course, if you told me that it annoys you, probably means I do it more. But
yeah, right,
that's just
exactly. Same, no, 100% the same. At one point, I'll tell everyone the story of Kesha Gate and how I took a joke too far on purpose and still don't care.
a joke too far.
I know, right? Can you imagine me taking a joke too far?
Now I'm interested in
Impossible.
this. Now I'm interested. I'm not going to lie about that.
But yeah,
I feel that like right here and right here, I'm looking here. There's a line missing. Like
where?
that should circle around. Like there, like
Yeah, where his belly is, there's definitely, yep, there's a line. See, this is what I run into when I'm making a short, and I often catch it like at the last minute, and then I have to make a decision. But since you caught it, I can fix it on my side.
so.
There we go. And then
Like a pencil and
I'm gonna pretend for a second I'm a real art channel. So for fixing that, I just use this Faber-Castell Pit Artist Pen. It's the B size. And you want it because it has that brush tip, which as you can see, mine is all crooked and weird because I use it a lot. Anyway. All right, official art channel moment over. Back to toy stuff. Carol is here. Hello, Carol. Gonna just heads up, guys. I'm even worse today about chat than I normally am because it's me and Lawrence, and we get off on tangents. It's a good thing you don't drink, Lawrence, because if you and I were to, like, when we finally get to meet up at a convention, and if we were to go to the bar and have happy hour, they literally would make us leave because we would be loud and obnoxious and like.
Oh, there's a good chance about that.
And you know, you're short, so that means between your mouth and your height, we would end up starting a bar fight. Because that's how it works. Every bar fight starts because some short girl or some short dude gets like his feelings hurt because he's short or she's short.
Well, I should probably find some military guy that I can stand behind to fight my battles for me.
You should, and yeah, make sure it's a real military guy and not like a fake one.
I have to wait till Bees Battleground is around.
You could use one of the, you could just make a wall of shipwrecks.
Well, you know, in all honesty, it's not
Like a
as
human
bad.
centipede of shipwrecks.
It's not as bad as stepping on a Hot Wheel or a Lego, but stepping on
Oh,
a G.I. Joe isn't much better.
It's really not. No, it's no.
And I do I love Tony saying every time Larry says, again, listen, or Tony, take a shot. Way to insert yourself there, Travis.
Right? It's Tony being a Travis.
Yeah, a little bit, it seems like.
Oh, there you go. Travis is rubbing off on all the wrong people. Oh,
You don't need to worry about Travis watching this. You don't have over 1,000 or over 2,000 viewers. So
I know I'm pretty good. So, well, that was at some point I'm gonna have Travis on here, but at the same time I was like, I don't know if I can handle that energy. Like,
well, wait, are you talking about? You're talking about
Texas
Mr.
Star?
Wonderful. Oh no,
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful Travis.
no, we're talking about. Well, I'll let Tony say it.
Oh, I don't know who that Travis is. I don't watch channels that have that many subscribers. You're lucky. Like, you're one of the few big channels I watch. I take that back. I watch a couple big channels, but
You watch more than that. You have a good amount of channels that I've seen you. That's how I knew who you were.
that's a good point. Yeah, I am.
GDL used to shout you out all the time.
They did all the time. Yeah. They still do sometimes whenever they're more than just John. I mean, more than just Jay there. So
Yeah.
it's just Jay has a hard time handling it all by himself. I mean, Colleen's in chat as a moderator, and they're moderators, but it's just Jay pretty much manning the chat these days. So
And you know what? And again, this is something that I feel like I've discussed with other people. Like, people don't realize how difficult it is when you are, you know, you're doing something all on your own and you're trying to do the chat. And like with this here, I'm not really able to watch the chat because you're trying to color. So looking at the chat, it's not as, it's not as easy. But I really do feel like people have this, they just don't understand like how much you're actually doing. It's not like I have a producer that's all right, highlight this, highlight that.
right.
That's how a lot of the bigger channels do it. They have
They've got
they have
somebody.
a moderator that's highlighting this stuff constantly, and they're
making
just going,
sure it pops out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think on the first live stream I did, I had my friend Muriel on it because that was my whole thing. Like, Muriel come on and moderate the chat. And then when we were talking, I'm like, why don't you just come on and color with me? And between the two of us, and then we ended up inviting Kayla on so Kayla could watch the chat. But then I'm like, why don't we have Kayla color also? And then, if you watch that, it just turned into the three of us talking shit. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll worry less about chat and in that respect, and just more on inviting someone where it's like we're talking and at least chat will be entertained so that they don't feel neglected. Speaking of which, speaking of neglected, having the phone there for viewing the chat is a good idea. Yeah, thanks, Tony.
So luckily, I don't think anyone can actually see because my camera isn't the greatest.
Yeah. I've got a spare phone here. I have because I have two monitors. I have over here the live stream pulled up so that I can drop the
Yeah.
ban hammer if I need to. I haven't had anyone show up in my chat yet. Knock on wood, being an ass hat.
But I'm not facing my monitor either.
Yeah.
I don't have enough room to face my monitor, so I had
Okay.
to adjust my other camera, the one that died midstream for some reason. And then
But I will say I think it's easier the way you do your Monday show where it's just sort of you because you're just sort of doing the news and talking. It's probably a little bit easier in that capacity to watch the chat. But still, you have pretty rambunctious chat, so
it's a give and take. So I gotta say this, when I do a Thursday with a friend, because they're not really watching the chat as much as we're talking, you kind of
Yeah.
get enthralled in what they're saying. And
yeah.
I do find it hard to read because you're trying to listen to what someone is saying because you're having a conversation with them. And it's kind of rude if you're like, hey, you know what? I have no idea what you're talking about. And you hear a lot of people do that type of stuff. I don't like going back and reading the chat like some other channels do.
Yeah.
They want to make everyone feel like they're part of the show, and I understand that.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, all right, you've just chatted. Now you're going to go back to the chat, and now you're going back to something that was said 25 minutes ago that is completely irrelevant, and you've ruined the whole flow of your show. We're come Monday. The reason why Monday is personally way, way harder is because there's so much conversations going between the people in the chat.
Yeah.
And as they're going back and forth, and you'll see me do it all the time, is that I'll bring up a comment and not realize that it's part of a conversation that they're having with someone else. Now, that's what I think makes the show so good, is that there is such a good camaraderie with so many of the people in the chat. They can go back and forth, and if I need to walk away for 5 minutes for something, not that I do that too often, there's just as many people normally sitting there waiting till I get back.
And really quick, Kenzo is saying, Lawrence, will you entertain us by letting us know when we will get a hooded Cobra Commander? But before, Kenzo, I need you to know that on this channel, we don't call him hooded Cobra Commander out of respect. We call him uncircumcised Cobra Commander. So just so you know, that's his name here, and we are going to honor that. Uncircumcised. Anyway, so Lawrence, when are we going to get the uncircumcised Cobra Commander?
Probably the moment Bonaventure leaves having anything to do with G.I. Joe and someone's able to talk them out of being stupid.
There you go. Answer obtained. And so one day you all will have your circumcised Cobra Commander. So there you go. Eldor, hello, Eldor. He says hello, and just everyone watching next week, this time, Eldor will be here with me, and we're gonna color Castle Grayskull with I don't know if you're following Eldor on Instagram, you've probably seen his amazing original Castle Grayskull art. We're gonna be coloring that next week, so that's exciting because I enjoy the coloring, but I also really enjoy the fact that it's original art. I'm a big fan of helping artists make art stuff. So yeah, that's next week. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about next week when this week is all about Lawrence.
It's fine. Don't worry.
So we got uncircumcised Cobra Commander. We got the shipwrecks. We haven't made swipes at Swiper Island yet, but we still have a little time.
Well, what's funny is that Matthew, my moderator, sends me a message going, God, these people are so stupid. There was another discussion about the uncircumcised Cobra Commander,
Yeah.
and how these people didn't want to listen, and they're like, "That's just stupid." He's like, "All right, well, here it is. Here's the links. Here's the article. It's there. What are you guys arguing about? Like,
Right.
no one is ever saying that it will never happen. No one is saying that Hasbro can't make it. It's they've
Yep.
chosen not to.
And what I will say, and this is, Emily, as you know, marketing Emily at Hasbro is pretty straightforward. And if it was something that could never be made, she would point blank say, we can't make that. And I don't know if she's ever made an official comment. My understanding is the way she phrases it, that's not something that will be happening anytime soon. But that doesn't, she would literally say never if it was never. So
They can't even talk about it.
yeah, so
Again,
but I would say if it was a never, ever, 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 they would just point blanks because they have shut down in other ways, like when people will ask, like that's just not going to happen. Don't ask.
yeah.
So,
Um,
and I would, like, so just so you guys are aware, like, nobody necessarily wants to keep toys from you. It's more that, they want to sell as many toys as possible. If certain chains decide they don't want to carry a toy, it could impact the entire line. So there are a lot of things that go into it, especially right now with how bad retail is. I would say that if there weren't sort of the CEO side of things, that's the type of figure that would make a good exclusive to PulseCon or to like Big Bad Toy Store or whatever. So then you're avoiding, some of the intricacies of that issue. Because I will say that hooded Cobra Commander looks like I had a neighbor who was in the KKK, and that was his hood. So like,
yeah,
when people are like, it looks nothing like it. It's like that's incorrect. Like that guy literally and his wife. I mean, thanks to his wife who was washing his regalia and hanging it out to dry on the line, which is not what she should be doing. Way to go, Helen. You just outed your husband in the KKK, but that was good. So we knew whenever. Like when his father died, we didn't take him a casserole. Fuck that dude. Anyway.
Yeah, you send that picture over. Actually, you sent it over to Matthew first.
I did because he was moderating your chat, and I'm like, just so you know, like because he kept saying, and not, like I don't say this in a bad way. It's not like he was saying it to be. I don't think he realized. And I sent it to him and he replied to me like, oh, okay, yeah.
He sent me a message. It says something like, fucking Allison sent this over to me. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I mean, it just, because that's the thing. If it's a discussion you want to have about why we don't, or, because what everybody says, well, it doesn't even look like that. It's like, well, the main one, the one you all know, which is, that's the one that they wear when they're out in public. The stuff they wear when they're together doing their evil, shitty rituals, that's when they wear that. There's like green, there's red. Like some bitch who knows how to do embroidery, like has like embroiders that shit up. Like, like it's like a racist pageant. Like no, Miss Horror, like I think they even have their own like women's branch of it, like KKK for the ladies. Their robes are like pink and like pastel. I'm just joking. I don't know what the ladies look like. You have to be married to somebody in that organization to be in the girls group.
They're barefoot in the kitchen where they have to do it on their ironing board.
With big hairy armpits.
Making sandwiches for everyone.
Shit sandwiches. I will say his wife made the worst potato salad I'd ever had.
Well, you just put two things that go perfectly together. Worst and potato salad. So
my mom used to make a really good German potato salad. It had mayonnaise and mustard in it.
Okay, see, you just made me throw up a little in my mouth.
Oh,
I'm a very picky eater as it is, but you say
so when I So when I told you that story about how I would chase my brother around the house with mayonnaise and mustard, and one time barricaded him outside because I put a jar of mayonnaise and mustard in front of all the doors, and he refused to cross it like he was a vampire, and I'd thrown some holy water down. You could relate?
No. I don't have a problem holding mayonnaise. Matter of fact, I don't even have such a issue with mayonnaise per se. I don't like mayonnaise. I don't like the texture of it. I don't like it when I go to Burger King and I get a classic chicken sandwich and I say no mayonnaise and it shows up and there's so much mayonnaise that
Oh
I
my
feel like
God.
they use the whole jar and I have
Yeah.
to scrape it off. But I will eat it when I scrape as much off as possible. I just don't want it on there.
I like when you get the McChicken at McDonald's and it has that mayonnaise on it, and the mayonnaise is hot. My friend Angelique and I she had done a comedy show, and after it was an open mic, so it's not like I mean, she gets invited to shows now, but this was back when she was still just mainly doing open mics and working her way up. But we went to McDonald's afterwards, and it was back when there was still a dollar menu, and we had maybe $12 to our name between us, and we got the McChickens, and we were sitting, and we may have had a few drinks, so that might be part of it, but we got there and we were eating those McChickens, and she looks at me, she's like, my mayonnaise is really hot. I'm like, mine is too. And like, I don't mind. So now it's sort of a joke where every so often we'll message about hot mayonnaise all these years later. But no.
So you brought up McDonald's, and I want to talk about, I think, one of the worst things that happened with the vid when the virus came and locked us all out. If you guys remember, right before it started, McDonald's had decided that we're going to go to 24 all day breakfast. So I want an Egg McMuffin meal. I can show up at 5 p.m. and ask for an Egg McMuffin meal. But as soon as the vid hit, that pandemic hit, they took that off. And if you don't know, the Egg McMuffin is by far the best thing that's on the.
Oh, I agree. No.
It is the best thing. So
the only thing even closely, remotely close is that big breakfast with those amazing pancakes and the big giant sausage patty.
You know, I have not had that in quite some time, and I mean,
it's pretty good.
So the other day, I went to McDonald's to get breakfast. It ends at 10:30, and I'm sitting there in the drive-thru, and as I'm sitting here, I'm watching. I'm like, all right, come on, like, all right, this is coming. It's 10:28. I'm waiting. So we'll be there in 1 second. I watched the digital menu switch from breakfast to lunch. Then the guy comes on and says, hey, he goes, what would you like to order? And I said, your menu just changed. Can I still order Egg McMuffin? Oh, I'm sorry, you can't do that. I'm like, even though I was here before 10:30, and you said, wait 1 moment, and I watched it turn. I go, I can't order breakfast? And he's like, no, I'm sorry, we're only serving lunch. I'm like, screw you. First off, I know you have Egg McMuffins back there. What you should do at that moment is say, hey, you know what? We got 3 Egg McMuffins here. We're just going to give them to you. Pull up.
Right.
I know you. I know they're back there. All right.
It's weird though because they miss like I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings. Maybe they just don't like you because I've gone into McDonald's before at that point where they've got them and they're like, "Oh, we were about to throw 3 out. Do you want those?" And I'll be like, "Yep."
I was going through the drive-through.
Well then.
So they couldn't even see if they like me or not.
When I worked at Dairy Queen in the drive-thru, I hated everyone who came through the drive-thru. It didn't matter who they were. Everyone, and if you were in that drive, because people are way ruder in the drive-thru. The first time I got called a bitch by a stranger was when I worked in that drive-thru, and that man made the mistake of ordering a Blizzard, and there was an extra special Flynn grabber in that one for him. Like, you don't call somebody a bitch at the drive-thru and then order food. You need to get out of line and drive off because whatever happens is your own fault.
I agree 100% with you. I think I
You
just
calling me a bitch. I mean, like, I am a bitch, don't get me wrong. I can be one, but he didn't know me. I literally was just like, welcome to Dairy Queen. What would you like? And he's all like, hey, bitch. I'm like, oh, nope, nope, not. And yeah. And then I told my mom later, and she was like, yep, no, that's how you handle it.
so if you were to Dairy Queen, you know what a Boston cooler is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were on vacation. Now I love Boston coolers because my mom always used to get them,
Yeah.
and so not only are they just absolutely yummy. Yes, I used the word yummy. It brings me back to when my mom used to get them, right? So we're on vacation up north. If you don't know, up north for Michigan is anywhere an hour past Detroit. There's a place called Frankenmuth, right? It's all this old German style town, whatever. So there's this Dairy Queen, and it's not in the parking lot of the. It's not in the parking lot of the rest or the hotel, but it's like connected to it. So I really want a Boston cooler. X doesn't want anything. Kids don't want anything. All right, I pull over and I pull in, go through, and I'm like, I just want a large Boston cooler. Girl comes back and she goes, we don't have that. And I go, well, you don't have Boston coolers? They stopped making it. And I said, the whole company stopped making them? Yes. Do you want anything else? No. And I just drove away.
Yeah.
And my ex, she's laughing her ass off because she's like, I can't believe you just did that. I'm like, all I wanted was a Boston cooler.
Yeah, they did. They discontinued that. It was after I left, of course.
Tell you what, I went to one down here and I asked, and they're like, no, we still have those.
Well, see, here's the trick. Oh my God, I can't believe that after I have not worked at Dairy Queen since 1995, so that's almost what, 30 years? God, how is it almost? Anyway, so here's the thing. Here's your insider tip on Dairy Queen. There aren't really any Dairy Queen corporate stores. They're all franchises. And so the way the franchising system works is you have single franchises where it's like a mom and pop, where it's like your grandpa like 30 years ago like got into the Dairy Queen business, and this is your family's Dairy Queen, and you buy all of your supplies from Dairy Queen corporate. Then there is the sort of the mega franchise where it's like a company that owns many stores. And then Dairy Queen corporate has like regional areas. So it's possible that, and the regional franchises and then the individual franchises have a lot of flexibility as far as what they do and don't carry. Like as a Dairy Queen, you have to have blizzards. You have to have, you don't have to call it the Hunger Buster, but you have to have that particular burger. You have to have the chicken strips, the steak fingers, the white gravy. Like there are certain items you have to have. Some of the stuff is, like you can choose not to make. Like when they do like a brand new ice cream or whatever, like when those, I don't know if you remember that year they did the brownies and the strawberry shortcakes.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do those. It was advantageous to do those because they're being advertised on television. So people are going to come into your restaurant to try that shit. But so something like that thing, like we didn't ever have that. People would come and ask for it, but we had never, our franchise didn't, and it seems like it would be simple to whip it together, but you can't. Like if you're a Dairy Queen and you run out of like even say biscuit mix, you can't just run to say Walmart in a pinch and pick up biscuit mix. You can only use the Dairy Queen approved stuff. So like you can't just, if your franchise has said, oh, we're not making this thing, it's no longer a product we're going to order, you can't just go throw it together because it's not approved ingredients. So it's weird. Like you can lose your franchising license and get penalties.
Yeah.
And
but you don't have to tell me that no one carries it anymore, because I know that's a lie.
Yeah, but you also remember it's somebody like me in the drive-through window who don't want to talk to you anyway and just is there because they need that 4.50 an hour. Call me a bitch, will you? Anyway, sorry. I'm not better 20, 30 years later. 28, 20. Oh, God. It's almost shit, Lawrence. It's like, it is 29 to 30 years since that happened. I should throw a party. That was right before Thanksgiving. And that was when I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go work at Blockbuster with my friends. They pay more and I get free movies. Um, I should throw a party though, like celebrate this fall. It's the 30th anniversary of the first time some man who didn't know me called me a bitch. You're all invited.
It's really the first time you remember.
Oh, you don't forget stuff like that. I don't, anyway. I only wish I had gotten a better look at his face and his license plates. I wasn't quite as spiteful back then, though.
So
well, I was, but I wasn't smart. Oh, nice. Very good.
Nice color inside the lines.
You did good.
So
Are you going to be able to finish it inside the lines?
Of course. I had another story about a drive-through.
Oh.
So we're on our way to see Guar.
Oh, Guar.
The fact that I can remember this. So
once you go Guar, it's hard to forget.
So I said, hey, stop at this Burger King here. It was right by the mall right before we got on the expressway. And I'm in the passenger seat. My buddy James is driving. And Mike was in the back seat. I want to say there was someone else with us, but I don't remember who. And pulls up, and I ordered the food like through the drive-thru, like leading over, whatever. Pull up to the window, and the girl says, "Hey, I know you. We go to school together." I'm like, "Oh yeah." She hands us the food, right? And Mike behind me says, he starts banging on James' seat, who's driving. He's like, "Go, go, 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 go!" And James, just out of instinct of him yelling, takes off. I mean, literally just takes off as fast as he can. Gets onto the road to get on, and he's like, "What was that?" He goes, and Mike is like, "They didn't make you pay first. They gave you the food." And we're like,
"Oh my God,
holy crap! You just freaked out, telling him to go because I hadn't given the money yet." And you probably never realize. Well, if McDonald's has the two windows, you probably never really realize that you always handle your money first, right? Like you just do it out of instinct. I never thought about it. And this is when we were in high school.
Right.
And I was like, holy crap. I'm like, I'm going to have to see this girl again.
Yeah, like I bet that made...
You guys are all going to have to because we're all in the same school. She just recognized me.
Monday at school by the locker, she was like, not only did Brendan and Dylan break up again, but you guys ripped me off at the drive-thru. I had to pay out of my check.
Oh my God, I could not. But he was also the guy when we were talking, I'm driving, and we're driving down the road, and he's just going, "Go, go." And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, he goes, you weren't slowing down, and the light turned red. I thought you were going to run it. I'm like, holy crap, dude, don't do that again.
You don't scream go if you're afraid somebody's going to run the light. And you're like,
he wanted me to run the light.
Don't run the light.
He thought I was going to, and that was his way of telling me to go, thinking like, oh, he's going to run the light. Like, dude, I wasn't going to run the light. Like, I had no intention of running the damn light.
You still talk to this person, or like?
Dude, I have not. I haven't talked to him since. His daughter just happened to be went to the same gymnastics school as my daughter for a bit, but I would always see his wife, who she hated me. I think she still does.
I don't know why. You're so lovely of a person.
You know what? She hated. You know what's funny is she actually hated me because of things with other people that she didn't like how I was with other friends of hers.
Oh,
But we would actually talk, and he very seldom. I think I ran into him like once or twice up there.
yeah.
But she was like, yeah, he doesn't come up. He doesn't, he doesn't do anything. He comes home from work and drinks a beer, and that's what he does, and doesn't really interact with the kids. And I'm like, that sucks, man. I mean,
So you married that dude, lady.
yeah, exactly. And what's funny is that like they had broken up. They were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
I guess saying sweethearts is probably the wrong term. They were high school sweethearts, and then I mean, I graduated in '94. We didn't all have cell phones. We didn't have Facebook. We
Nobody
didn't have
had
all
cell
the stuff
phones in
to
'94.
keep in touch. So I find out that they got married, and okay, well they got married, cool, And then I'm talking to some people, and they're like, you know what happened, right? I'm like, I have no idea. It's like they had broken up before, I think before high school ended, or maybe right after.
Yeah.
She was engaged. They were set to get married, and he found out, and he broke up the marriage like the week of, I think, that she was going to get married.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like holy shit, that actually happens, right? Again, I don't know why. you had your out,
That totally. Yeah. No.
but
I mean,
So-
I just. Yeah. No.
I guess it does
Impressive.
happen. But and I think from what I know, they're still married.
Yeah, I've only ever shown up at the wedding, and when the preacher is like, "Is there anyone here who objects?" I have at least one time gone, "Well, about that," and then everyone gave me a look, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit down. Like this isn't working like it does on Days of Our Lives. And then I went and drank all the champagne at the reception, and got him to get into a fist fight with his best man while she cried. It was rewarding. Anyway. She had too much mascara and it showed. Anyway,
It showed.
I wish I had a Polaroid to get pictures of that. Anyway, my understanding is they're still happily married and have 5 teeth between them. So I won.
Good for anyone that can get
Good for
married and
them.
be happy, right?
We love that for them.
Better than the me. That's the way I look at it. All right.
Let's see. Oh. So Mary says they have 24-hour breakfast in Canada at McDonald's, but their food up there is awful. So there you go.
But you have the Egg McMuffin. That's what matters.
Like McDonald's food is kind of awful, but at the same time, like it's awful in a very comforting way. And see, I don't know if it's the same in Canada. Like, I think what a lot of people miss, even sort of older millennials and like these zillennials, I don't think they realize what a comfort food McDonald's was to Gen X and even Boomers. Like, when I was a kid, like when I learned how to tie my shoes, we celebrated by going to McDonald's and I got like a sundae. Like my mom for a while when we lived in Texas the first time, she would babysit for this wealthy couple. So they would bring their kid over and she would stay with us all day while her mom was at work, and her mom would bring McDonald's big breakfasts for everyone. So when I eat a big breakfast now, like I taste it obviously, and maybe it's not great, but what it does is it gives me it's the same thing with sort of toy collecting. I get that sort of that hit of like the memories of sitting there, like being 3, 4, maybe 5 at tops, sitting at the like kitchen table with my mom and my, her.
Yep.
She was my friend. Like we would play Barbies and Strawberry Shortcake and Star Wars. When she got for Christmas 1978, no 79, she got Luke Skywalker X-wing pilot in her stocking, and I remember her mom telling the story to obviously to this day because I'm telling it now, but she's like, "There's a man in my stocking," and it just I didn't get why it was funny back then. I do now, but like. So, but all of that sort of rushes back when we eat a McDonald's big breakfast. So it's just, I don't know. People have all these feelings about McDonald's, but it's like, it's a visceral thing for a lot of us. So,
No, and I think that's what a lot of people fail to understand. Like with me and collecting my vintage GI Joe, it's not like I played with my mom with that.
yeah.
But she would go to Kmart again. If Aaron is still here, yes, I was spoiled. She'd come home with 2 GI Joe figures, right? Sometimes it might be one that I already have, and then we'd have to take it back and get another one. And other times it would be like one that I don't have. But she would, and I guess I look back at this now and realize she would ask me if there's any figures that I'm looking for. And she would always go and look.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, it's not like my parents were rich. My dad worked for, Dodge Truck on the assembly line. My mom was a career bouncer around. She bounced around from job to job.
Right.
Sometimes she worked in a factory. Other times she was some sort of receptionist.
But, to be fair, I mean, to be honest, like back then as a working mom, it was really hard to find.
Yeah.
Because people back then it was like, oh well, you've got a kid. Well, oh well, you want the day off, you need to just quit.
Yeah, and again, like we didn't have a lot of money, but my dad also didn't make her like.
Yeah.
My mom did what she wanted. But that's why just collecting the GI Joe, sitting there and looking at it. Yeah, the story of the flag is comical, in my opinion. But it's the fact that when I look down and I look at all those figures and vehicles, I know, why I have it.
Yeah.
And where it takes me back. I talked about it before, and I can remember exactly where I was the first time that I ever saw a G.I. Joe commercial. I was sitting there playing with my Star Wars figures, and I had the snow speeder, and I was playing with Lone Ranger and Tonto. And a commercial came on, and it was for G.I. Joe. And I'm sitting there, basically Indian style, playing with it. I turned around and looked at my dad and said, "Can I get one of those figures?" He said, "Well, we'll see." And then I don't know how much later it was. We were in Sears, and I think most people our age, at least in the U.S., will remember that Sears had the greatest thing, which was the toy department.
Mm-hmm.
Not the toy department that starts fights with companies, but a toy department itself. I'm sorry.
No, it's perfect.
So here we are in the toy department, and the Sears that we went to, when we walked in, it was pretty much the first thing that you saw. Like you kind of walked, there were some appliances, and then it was right over to the left-hand side. So you were either going to go there right when you first got there or on the way back. I don't remember if this was on the way out or right when we first got there, but I see G.I. Joe figures. I said, Dad, can I get one? Can I get one? And he says, "Why don't you get 2 vehicles?" And I remember I picked out the Vamp, which came as clutch. And then I picked out another vehicle that did not have a figure. And he stops and he goes, "Well, why don't you put this one back and get that one over there? Because that comes with, because that wasn't a vehicle, but that's what he said. Because that vehicle comes with a figure. Then you'll have 2 vehicles and 2 figures." And as a kid, it was like, it was like the roof had opened up, the shining light had come down, there was music, and I'm like, oh my God, you are the smartest person ever. And that was the beginning of G.I. Joe for me. That was what started it all.
I think for GI Joe, like like I saw Scarlet and I'm like, oh, I want Scarlet. She can be my Mon Mothma. My brother though, like the second he saw Snake Eyes, he was in. Like Snake Eyes was just for him. Like my brother went on to like he took karate and taekwondo, and he eventually like was a kickboxing instructor for a while. Like when I moved up here, he was teaching martial arts. But G.I. Joe was the big part, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. It was a big part, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, which, I never complained. I would complain if I had to take him to see that fucking China O'Brien shit. But, fucking limited release before we released it in 3 weeks on VHS. But I enjoyed because we always got some Jean-Claude Van Damme cake. But, he's not unpleasant to look at. But he he was all in on G.I. Joe, and I got Scarlet. I wasn't. He also had there was one that came with a motorcycle, right? Or was it just a motorcycle by
No,
itself?
the motorcycle was by itself.
Okay, he had that. He had like for Christmas that year he had gotten Snake Eyes, and then for Christmas that year he got the Vamp with clutch. He got the motorcycle with the sidecar thing with the machine gun. He by that point Wave 2 I think was starting to come out, so we had a few of those. We didn't, and he got. I remember when he got Barbecue. Wait, it was which is the one that was like neon red and neon yellow? That was like
the flamethrower guy was Blowtorch.
Okay, so yeah, he had that guy because I remember he got that one, and I think that was that was when I got the indoor Leia with the helmet, and we ate Wendy's because we lived far from town, and we went through the Wendy's drive-through afterwards, and then he threw up on the way home. And I remember my first thought was to try to get his G.I. Joe out of his hand so he didn't puke on it, and all that happened was he puked on my hand. So yeah, but he didn't puke on his G.I. Joe. And that was, of course, and my mom was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was trying to save his action figure. She's like, you're an idiot. You just got your hand puked on. And I'm like, I know. We had to pull over, and she had to break out the baby wipes because my mom was a little OCD. It would be midnight, and I would be trying to, like, sneak on sneak phone calls that I wasn't supposed to be making because I was supposed to be in bed, and I would hear all of a sudden the vacuum cleaner turn on at midnight, and she'd vacuum the entire house. She would, like, I literally wish she had made it to the days where, like, you could get medication for that, because it would have made our childhoods a little less hectic at times, because she really, her anxiety was, like, there was one time as an adult, like, because you go see your mom because you have to. But in this case, she would meet me in town because they still lived.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you rub that in a little bit more? How you could go see your mom as an adult?
Yeah, I could. So anyway, she would drive to town because they still lived, far out of town. And I was in college, living in an apartment, working at Blockbuster, and I met her. We were going to go to the manicure place to get our nails did. And we walked in, and her anxiety kicked in because all the ladies turned and said hi, customer service. But because they all turned and looked at her, her anxiety kicked in, and she turned and she was like, "Never mind," and ran out of the store, well, the nail salon. And then I'm like, "What happened?" And she's like in the car crying, and I shouldn't. It's not really funny, but it was just like. She's like, I don't know. I can't go back in there now, and forever I'll be the never mind lady. And
sorry,
no, it's not. But it is. It kind of is. And then later, not long after that was when Clueless came out, and there's that part where Ty slips down the stairs and falls on her butt. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Now all night I'll be the girl who fell on my butt." And I turned and looked at my mom when we were watching that, or the Nevermind lady, and she got really mad and got really mad at me and like stormed off. And I kind of fucked with my mom a lot. Because it's me. How could you not? She fucked with me. She would flip her eyelids when we were kids. She would flip her eyelids, which freaked me out as a 3-year-old, and say, "I'm not your mother anymore. I'm an alien," and then chase me around the house while I screamed. I would scream in terror, and she would chase me around the house. "I'm not your mother. I'm an alien," with her eyelids flipped. And then she still did it. And then my brother was, when he was little, he could also flip his eyelids. So then they would both chase me around the house screaming that they were aliens. And
okay, well, you didn't chase your brother with mustard and mayonnaise, so.
That was after this. So I had to tell my brother, it's like, "Hey, by the way, I'm doing this thing on YouTube. And sometimes I'm going to tell stories and you're in them. And they may not be flattering to either of us." And he was like, "Okay." I'm like, "Oh, good, because I already told the story about the mayonnaise and the mustard." And he just got quiet for a few minutes. He's like, "Oh, that's fine." I'm like, "It's probably not fine. Probably not.
Fine or not, it's already out there.
It's already out there. I already told that story." Hello, Cobb. Welcome. Welcome.
So you brought up Wendy's. I was actually just talking to my daughter.
And having a mother as an adult.
And having a mother. Well, I love to tell stories about having a mom, but it's very difficult because, I have so few memories. My ex, not my kid's mom, but before her, I was doing the job that I was working. We were doing computer stuff, and we went to lunch. And it was me and this one guy. We went to lunch at Wendy's. And when I go to Wendy's, I'd always get the spicy chicken sandwich.
Yeah, they have good chicken there.
Yeah, so we went there, and I still know exactly where this Wendy's is. Amazingly, I have a lot of clients around there now, and it's not like this is the same job that I had, because this would have been back in the 90s.
Yeah,
probably around 99 or so. And so we left, went to lunch, and this guy was driving because he was teaching me, and we're just sitting there, and we're at this person's house, and I'm just kind of sitting there. I don't know if I was on a chair. I want to say it was in someone's bedroom, possibly, because that's where their computer was. So I think I might have been sitting on their bed, kind of like watching him. And he looks at me and he's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I don't feel well." He's like, "You look awful." I'm like, "I don't know. I'll be fine." He's like, "Dude, you look really, really bad." And so I think he did it a little bit longer. He's like, "All right, let's wrap this up and let's get you back. You need to go home." I got home, and it is the only time that I know that I got food poisoning. And the amount of stuff that can come out of both ends of you makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
You're like, corn. I haven't had corn in 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, again, how there was this much in me. And I remember my ex was just such a bitch. I remember being on the phone and being pissed at me that I was causing like a ruckus. And I'm like, "Dude, like, what the hell?" Yeah, I did say the word ruckus.
How dare you get sick?
And it took me probably over 10 years before I ever had Wendy's again.
Oh,
and yes. I've had it so few times. It's like it is so ingrained in my brain of how bad it was and how I felt. And I was just talking to my daughter about it. I'm like, that's the only time I know for a fact that I got food poisoning. And that's how bad it was that I think it was like 10 years before I went and tried it again. And even now, even though I've had it and I know it's not going to be from the same chicken. Well, it can't be because they're long gone.
Right. Well, and there were probably 7 chickens in that one. No, actually, Wendy's is pretty good about not doing stuff like that.
And the thing was, I remember the food didn't even taste bad. It wasn't like the food tasted bad and you're like, "Oh my God, it's not like." It tasted great.
Right?
going
It's
down.
Wendy's. Of course it tasted great.
It's kind of made me want to go get Wendy's for some odd reason right now. But I know
The last time I had, well, one, when I worked at Blockbuster, there was a Wendy's and a Taco Bell in our parking lot. So I always got Wendy's. It was also when I was on, and the doctor had put me on diet pills to get my weight under control. So every day, like 600-calorie lunch, I would get the 5-piece nuggets, the Caesar side salad, and a large lemonade, with most of the calories coming from the sugary lemonade. But it was so good. Like I looked forward to that every day because it was that was the only meal all day where I had at that point any fat in that phase of what eating plan they had me on. Everything else was super low fat, super healthy, super bland, super boring. So it was like I looked forward every day to walking across the parking lot to the Wendy's and getting those nuggets and that salad. So I have pretty obviously. But during the pandemic, there was that first part of the lockdown where like I ordered a lot of food to be delivered, because we were all trying to do that thing where we were trying to be supportive because a lot of people who couldn't work
yeah.
were suddenly doing delivery because they had to. It was before it had really got out how badly like Uber Eats and all those companies were screwing their drivers over on pay. But I got Wendy's and it took 3 hours for it to get here was the first thing. Because they took the order but apparently didn't actually have a driver in the area, so they shouldn't have even offered Wendy's. Then he got here and he spilled half of the soda. So my burger was wet. The
She meant
fries were
pop,
wet.
guys. She meant pop, not soda.
No, I mean soda.
No, it's pop.
Look, I'm from the South. You're lucky I didn't say Coke. Because that's what everything in the
That's
South
so.
is a
That's
Coke.
still. That is still so strange to me because Coke is literally a brand, and I can understand when people call Pepsi Coke, although Mega J doesn't, because don't get him a Coke. Your Pepsi.
I can't. Pepsi tastes like battery acid. So sorry, guys.
But this girl that I was dating that she's from Alabama, and she was living in Florida. She's like, we call everything Coke. I'm like, what do you mean?
It's true.
She's like, even like if you want a Mountain Dew, you say, can I get a Coke? What kind of Coke? A Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense because you're explaining yourself more than once when you want a Mountain Dew.
It's just like how people are like, oh, well, you Xerox that for me, even though it's just a copy machine. No, like it's the thing. Like I read a big article about 2 years ago where it talked about the dangers for brands like Xerox, where it's like you are sort of the leader in the industry, but you're not actually you're not always the affordable option. So what happens is people buy sort of the more budget friendly version of the product from a different company, but then your name becomes generic because everyone just uses that as a because you were the only one doing it for so long, but now you're not. But so it was a really interesting article to read. Like
What's
I
crazy?
can't yeah.
They're not even close to being an industry leader anymore.
Not anymore. Well, that's funny because the call center I worked at when I first moved up here got bought and sold a couple times, and right after I left, they got sold to Xerox. And it's not like they even do copy. A big part of their company is no longer even copy stuff. It's
so many
technical support and outsourcing and being a terrible employer.
Drives me nuts.
They're not a pleasant company to work for. Every one of my friends who stayed at that company left within a year because they were such a miserable company to work for. And then like, oh, we didn't make $1 bazillion. We made half a bazillion, so we're gonna fire everyone except like our CEO. Like the people who are actually responsible for companies not making money never get fired. It's always the people who are making the company's products.
Oh yeah,
You are actually the only reason you have any success because somebody's actually working in your your office is taking these calls or in the factory building your product, those people don't ever get fired.
Why do you
I
fire?
mean, those people get fired, not the people that read memos and send memos. Fucking asshole. Anyway. Ask for soda in Canada and you'll likely get soda water or tonic water. No, Nolan, I am going to say, like, that's fair because that is literal. And one thing I can appreciate about Canadians is they seem like they're pretty literal people. So, I mean, because Brian Adams is literally the worst, and he's from Canada. So,
You from the States, eh? What? You from the States, eh?
so
from
this
state.
is
I'm not from all 50 of them.
when I first started working at Samsung. We did tech support for one of the company, because the phones were sold also in Canada, and we would have to ask for your zip code when you called in, and the guy was from Canada. Well, he knew what I needed. Like I had never heard of it because I was, I'm American. And they don't teach you all the deets about Canada and the South. It's just up there. It's like America's hat. And I was like, "Can I get your zip code?" He's like, "My what?" I'm like, "Your zip code. Like, I need your zip code so I can, like, do tech support for you. We require the zip code before I can. I don't have a zip code." I'm like, "So you don't have? Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Are you homeless right now?" Like, and he's like, "No, I live in Canada." I'm like, "Well, surely you have zip codes in Canada." He's like, "We don't." I'm like, "I don't." I'm like, "Well, I can't help you then." He's like, "We have postal codes," and then he rattles it off to me, and at the end of it there was a Z. He's like, "And Z," and I was like, "Zed's dead." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then he was like, "We don't have zip codes. We use this." And I'm like, "Well, that's all you had to say, sir. We've been here 5 minutes and you've been a jerk." I'm like, "I'm going to transfer you a call to somebody who cares at this point." And then I sent him away. And then the next Canadian I got was like, "I'm calling to boot my phone." I'm like, "Well, you hold on there, James Bond." I got in trouble for that call. I got marked down 5 points for rudeness. But anyway.
And they say the Canadians all friendly.
Yeah, they really are. And when they're calling about their Samsung wireless phone, they are not. You're that zip code, dude. Like, ugh.
Canadians all friendly. You remind them that they haven't won the Stanley Cup since 1993.
That's a good point. I don't. Aren't those cups all those people are going crazy for right now?
Oh no! Stanley Cup is the hockey. The hockey
Oh,
trophy.
it's all. I should know that then. Matt, is there a Stanley Cup? And I'll ask him later. He's probably not. He's probably put his headsets on at this point, so he doesn't have to listen to us. He did that the other night when I was on Geek the F Out. He just put his headsets on. I'm like, I guess he's had too much of us.
Believe me, he did not want to. He did not want to answer that question of you asking, "Is there a Stanley Cup for hockey?"
Oh no! All the time he'll talk to me about hockey. Sometimes I'll look at him like I don't know anything about hockey, but then he explains it, so I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Well,
That
it
makes
is the.
sense now. He is very tolerant of my lack of hockey knowledge.
It is the best trophy in all of sports. We'll just say that.
Okay. All right, I'll take your word on it.
Because what's cool about it is there's only one, and your name gets engraved on it, and that team gets to have the Stanley Cup for a year.
Wait, there's only one?
There's only one original, and they add rings to it with the names. And as the ring fills up, that ring comes off. It goes into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and then they put a blank ring on it, and they start the teams that are winning. The teams that are winning. So,
Do they like steam clean it? Because that doesn't sound very
oh yeah, and there are all kinds of stories about what happens to the Stanley Cup.
What happens in Stanley Cup stays in Stanley Cup.
Oh yes, they end up in at the bottom of pools, at the bottom of lakes.
Somebody is.
You have babies christened in it. Obviously, there's lots of alcohol. There's also been some stories of other things. There is one guy that protects the Stanley Cup. He's with it all the time. Actually, I think there's multiple guys that do it because one guy couldn't do it the whole time. but there's one guy that takes it everywhere, and he always
So
wears
he's
white gloves.
he's like a Stanley Cup cup.
He's the guard.
See, no one gets it. Thanks, Nolan. Oh, down south. So I'm sorry I missed you, sir. Again, though, as I said earlier before you got here, this is me and Lawrence. Like, good luck getting a word in, even in chat. Oh, hi, Roman. See, all those people who think that I'm running the Roman account, obviously I'm not. You've seen my hands the whole time, so stop accusing me of it.
Oh, do people think that it's you? I have
I've
no
had
idea
3
who it is.
different people ask me if I'm the person doing it. I'm like, I am not. Like,
I have no idea who it is.
I only have 2 puppet accounts, and I only wander into chats to ask why you're always playing that gay Moss Man.
What?
So that you have to explain why the Moss Man's not gay. It's funny. Yeah, that's me. Headache 79 in chat. That's me.
Wait, so people think you're Moss Man?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the common knowledge that it's Ted.
No, they think I'm the one who always asks you in chat. Like whenever I make fun of that Moss Man, that's me in chat, sir. I'll pop in and chat one of my alts in a few days, but that's the only one I have.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, every time I pop in, I haven't seen you in chat before. It's like, and I just laugh. And I troll you a little bit. So everyone else figured out it was me but you. Like Ed was like, that's you, right? I'm like, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Wait. You gotta start all over here. What's your alternate? Wait. What's your alternate one?
It's Headache 79. You'll recognize it tomorrow night when I pop into chat.
I don't feel like I've seen that before.
Oh, you have. You've had to correct me. This Moss Man is not gay. That's just a voice. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because somebody asked you, I think, seriously one time about it, and I'm like, oh, that's just I'm gonna ask every time he plays it. Are we gonna have to watch that gay Moss Man again?
Yeah.
I figured you would figure it out whenever it was like, I love Tom Cruise movies. I was like, he's got to know that's me because I just said Tom Cruise is cool. Because nobody thinks Tom Cruise is really cool. Anyway.
Nobody makes amazing movies.
Yeah. Exactly. Speaking of Tom Cruise movies, when are you guys doing that Top Gun thing I have to participate in?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
But I'll let you know because we're going to do it was something that I kind of threw out to Matthew about it.
Yeah.
About obviously counting down whatever we think is the best Tom Cruise movie.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the next week, we'll vote on it. And then we'll watch the movie, whatever we'll vote on the top 5. And then go from there. But I kind of got to figure out how I want to do it because I don't want to put every Mission Impossible down.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, all right, Mission Impossible 1, 2, 3. Like, somehow do it in a series or all the Jack Reachers. Like, well, there was only 2 Jack Reachers, but he doesn't have a lot of sequel movies. He did 2 Jack Reachers, he did 2 Top Guns, and then he's done the Mission Impossible series.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a bunch of
Stanley
sequels.
gets it.
So.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like I said, I've never watched Top Gun on purpose, but if that's what the people want. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if I watch Top Gun and then come on, I'm going to be the one who didn't like it, probably. So it does have other people in it, though. It's got that guy that was on ER and from the Nerds movies, so maybe it's not. And Val Kilmer is in it back when he was hot, so I don't know.
Dude, when you look at the amount of stars or amount of known actors that are in it, you're kind of shocked, like, oh
Isn't
wow,
Meg Ryan in that one?
Meg Ryan is. I think I'm done because I don't know how to.
You're done.
My clouds are white, so
Oh, they could be. Possibly.
and see this isn't colored because he's painting it, so I
Yeah.
left that open. See, 'cause I'm an artist, you know.
Yeah, you are
They
pretty
painted
artistic.
this far up. Um,
That's actually kind of when you said that you didn't do a lot of art stuff, that's actually what sort of confused me because most of the punks I know also were doing art. And all of the skateboard people I knew like were amazing tag like do amazing like tag art with graffiti and stuff. So it was just kind of it sort of surprised me because my exposure to both punks and skateboard guys were always that there was a big art component to it. So that's why I always act surprised when you're like I don't do art stuff because it's just my exposure to both communities prior to me.
you are right in many ways. I have no artistic ability whatsoever.
I disagree. I think
If
you,
I
you
was
may not ever be Leonardo da Vinci, but
if
you
I
still have
sit down
capabilities.
and I really concentrate, I can do some drawing, some art.
Yeah.
But it is, I say it's painstaking because I don't understand a lot of things. And a friend of mine, he's an old friend of mine. He's an amazing artist, and he went back to school to do it. And his teacher always would tell him the teacher would always tell everyone in like all the students like everyone has the same ability. And I said I don't agree with that. And my buddy was like I agree 100%. Like I think everyone can get better, but you either have natural talent or you don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
You can get better at skateboarding by going out there, but if you don't have the natural ability, like most of, like all the pros, you're never going to be that good. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's
yeah.
not saying you can't get better at something, but if you just don't have pure ability, you're just not. And it doesn't matter what it is.
Well, sort of my thought with that is, it is sort of along those lines, but like with art, I mean, like obviously you've colored this page, it looks pretty good. You have a sense of color and composition. It looks good. That's art. It may not be like hang it in a museum art, but I think that's sort of, in my opinion, this is one of the things that more and more these days that we're sort of failing at as a society. Because even me, like I do all this art, but it's also I found a way to sort of make it content to justify doing all of this art. Whereas, sort of, so I don't know. I just think that anyone can do art. Not everyone's going to be like famous for it. And I think we're sort of entering this phase in American North U.S. society anyway, where it's like if you can't make money from it, why are you doing it? Which seems kind of like you should just be coloring or doing art or whatever because it makes you happy, not because you're going to turn around and be able to make it a career. So
I'm with you 100% on that.
So you may never be like a paid professional artist, but you've got artistic talent. You should just have fun with it.
Yeah, if you enjoy doing it. I grew up. I think I probably told you this before in the last one. My best friend growing up, I'd spend the night at his house or he'd spend the night at my house, but he was amazing. He'd whip the G.I. Joe figures and they'd be killing each other's and they'd be hanging over stuff and he'd have 20 pictures done and I'd be finishing my first one.
Right.
And he was he was not someone that criticized you. He gave you compliment. He tried helping. But at the same time, and you spend all this time to do one and then you look over and he's just tossing out pictures as he flies through them. You're just like, I don't really want to do this.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of discouraging sometimes. Like,
And again, maybe it's just because it wasn't enjoyable for me. I have a feeling when I kind of look back at it, I don't think everyone enjoyed skateboarding as much as me. So maybe when I was sitting there for 4 hours and they all wanted to go do something else, you kind of look back and be like, all right, well,
right.
I just had a different love for it than everyone else. And again, I think a lot does have to do with ability, but it has to do with how good you are at it now and just how much fun you're actually having. So,
Well, yeah, and if you're not having fun, you shouldn't be doing it. Like, and that's sort of with what I'm doing on YouTube. Like, yeah, I'm doing toy videos, but I'm also doing the toy videos of stuff I like. And like color. There are people who have tried to argue with me that coloring books aren't toys, and they're not toys the way you think of it. But if you look at how all these coloring books were marketed to us as kids and how they were used, these are used the same way that they used the Filmation cartoon for He-Man. Like, these were part of the marketing. This is how you taught the kid about, this is how we learned about the stories, the characters, sort of what they could do, what they couldn't do. And I think it's really sort of,
how much pee is in your clouds?
None. That's the light reflecting off of the
Those are yellow clouds.
Yep, because haven't you ever gone outside, Lawrence, in the afternoon and seen the clouds as the sun sets? They've got yellow in them.
That's golden shower for everyone.
There are no golden showers in the Care Bears land because they don't even have, like they don't have
something.
They burp and a little cloud of love comes out, and that's their poop, Lawrence. They don't. Care Bears don't pee. It's a pee-free zone.
I don't believe that. We all have to pee sometime.
They're magical little bears, Lawrence, full of love.
Well, some people love that, so see?
Let's see. Really quick, I'm going to put random diorama is here to say, wait, Larry had a friend, exactly. And then Cobb, again, this is what I heard the most often whenever I'd say Lawrence was joining me. I thought for sure Lawrence would be coloring Grumpy Bear.
See?
Down South 7, exactly. Thank you, sir. I need to, once I start looking at future guests, I'm going to hit you up, Down South 7. You can come on and we'll color something. Tony goes, ew. Speaking of people that need to come back. Hello. Yeah, exactly. It's whether or not, it's not, wait, what is the old saying? It's not, no, that's the difference. Never mind. We're not going to say that. Because I was about to say from prom night, it's not who brings you, who takes you home, but that's not what I meant. So. Thank you, Kenzo. Yep, almost done. I just got to do the bucket. And this Care Bear has a bucket, but no mop. So we know that, again, they don't have that stuff, so it's fine. They fart and it smells like cotton candy. See, Tony knows all, because of what Tony does, I'm sure he knows all about Care Bear physiology.
People tend to think
he's there when Care Bears have a little bit too much to drink and wreck that cloud car, and then they end up in Arizona because they've been bad. Like when Care Bears go to hell, it's actually just a summer trip to Arizona. And I say that as somebody who drove through Arizona once, and I felt like it was 3,000 years.
Arizona is. I've been to Arizona twice, and I have to say, when you first get there, you're like, "This is absolutely beautiful. It doesn't even look real." And then by the end of the trip, you're like, "This is just a fake background. It looks like it's painted. It doesn't look real."
Yeah. Some lovely sunsets and sunrises, though. I did. The first time I drove through Arizona, we hit it right at dawn, so we found a nice spot to park and sort of watch the sun come up. And it was late fall, which means it's still summer in Arizona. But everything was like gold, and like the sky was like fiery pink and orange, and it was like that little fluffy cloud song from Orbit that like my ex would put on whenever we were tripping balls, and it would fuck with my. It was like that, and so there's some beautiful things about Arizona. It's just mostly not.
I think it's beautiful there. I'm not gonna lie.
But it did feel very. But the same thing happens to me when I go to Los Angeles for more than 2 or 3 days because I've seen everything in Los Angeles in movies and TV shows, but it's all really cut up. Like you use the same street in movies, and then you just go to the other side of the street and film that corner, and then you lace it so it looks like different streets or like. So it when you see that and it's like nothing sort of lines up the way it does in the TV show or the movie, like it throws you off. And I was just like, I've got to get out of here. And then the smog dropped. And then I was at the last time I went there, the last day we were at a cafe, and Moby was at the table next to us. And that was closer than the restraining order allows me to be. So I'm like, let's just leave. So luckily that was the day we came back.
What are you using to color that right there?
This is a Caran d'Ache water-soluble Neocolor 2 Aqualaire.
Okay.
It is a water-soluble
What's it?
crayon.
Okay. A crown.
Crown. See, look, wait. It's a
Crayon.
crown, Lawrence. It's
Crayon.
a crown. See, I can do it when I do voiceovers because you have to, but I have to shape my lips a certain way, and I don't do that for free. So. This isn't the channel where you get lip shapes. No, no, yeah, no, okay.
Is there a channel?
There's not. I thought about getting one at one point where it would just be me insulting people, like fully dressed and stuff. But there are people who enjoy getting insulted, so I was like, I could make that happen for them. But then I was like, I don't want the tax nightmare.
So the comment there about Breaking Bad there. Breaking Bad took place in New Mexico, not Arizona.
Yeah.
So get it right, guys. That's
my favorite is when somebody's like, Breaking Bad was the best TV show ever. And then somebody's like, have you seen The Wire? And then I'm like, I have not. And you know why I haven't seen The Wire? Because everyone tells me it's the best TV show. You have to watch it. And I'm spiteful and a contrarian. And the second you're like, you have to watch it, it's not going to happen.
So I watched The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that it was as good as The Shield.
Shield was pretty good.
Which I still think The Shield is the best cop movie ever. Cop TV show ever. And if you haven't watched it, go watch it because you'll be like, holy crap.
Definitely watch The Shield. Shield is definitely better. And I can't say because I will never watch The Wire at this point because you guys built it up. And that's the other thing. It's been built up so much, there's no way it's going to be that good.
The Wire is good. One of my biggest issues with The Wire, and I only watched it one time, so I watched the whole thing through, but I didn't seem to care for it. It seemed like every season you had the same characters, but it seemed like it was almost a different story being told. And I don't mean like a story of like things happening, but the characters almost acted different in many ways.
Yeah.
Which didn't make a lot of sense to me. And maybe it was just how I was watching it. But it bothered me. I thought every season was good, but I'm like, the character seems like a completely different character.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But I feel like I'm the only one that's ever said that because everyone raves about it.
Yeah, everybody's always telling me it's so good, you have to watch it, you'll love it. And it's like, you know me, obviously, because, you know, I mean, or maybe I don't know. I tend to like terrible. I mean, one of my favorite movies is The Slumber Party Massacre. So like, whenever I talk about movies that suck or are terrible, you have to grain of salt it, people, because Friday the 13th is my second favorite film franchise after Star Wars. And I liked all the sequel trilogy movies. So, I mean, Revenge of the Sith, Rise of Skywalker could have been better, but it's still better than any Star Trek movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, so what Random says about The Shield is crazy, and he liked NYPD Blue. I never watched NYPD
That
Blue,
was a really good show. That
but like
show
you
got
said,
better. Okay, let's.
but that was like much earlier on. The Shield. Here's what I'm going to say about The Shield. I've tried to watch The Shield since then.
Yeah,
It is a hard watch, and what I mean by that is there are some really, really difficult things that happen throughout that series, especially if you have kids
yeah,
that you just don't want to watch, like you don't want to see. Um, and I'm not saying a hard watch as in like you can't watch it. The best thing about The Shield is it is 7 seasons, and all 7 seasons really comes back to trying. All 7 seasons comes back to them trying to hide what they did in episode 1.
yeah. It felt really consistent to me. Like they had a real clear vision and they stuck to it.
Yes.
Um,
So
Yeah.
you're doing way too much for the coloring. I feel like I should still be doing stuff, and I'm
no,
like,
I'm fancy with it. Literally. If you go look at my bio on like Instagram and TikTok,
I know.
it says I color old coloring books with fancy adult shit. Well, I don't say shit in the profile because God forbid. I've got a little fan person on TikTok though that every video I post, they go and post, yay. And then I posted some Care Bears the other day and they're like, oh my God, birthday bear is my favorite bear. I'm like, I will keep that in mind next time I'm printing out some Care Bears to color. And they were like, oh my God, that would mean so much. And I was like, I just made someone's day better. That never happens. So, anyway, I'm going to be doing
Poor
some
Matt.
birthday bear.
Poor Matt.
I say that. And he actually, I don't know. Like, he's
You're
actually
like,
the one person I'm nice to. Like, yeah. So, like, I cooked. Well,
yeah,
actually, he put dinner together last night, but I also did a pre-record stream with Muriel for March because I'm gonna take some days off, hopefully to go to the Bay Area and hang out with Brick and Kayla and Michael from Toy Habits and meet um, Chris Plastic. And I'm trying to and Thanos mentioned he might try to drive up, so like it would be really cool for the West Coast Avengers to assemble. And so yeah, I did a pre-record yesterday, and then with Muriel, and it was good. Like, I hate that we sort of make excuses because we're, like obviously really close friends in real life and have known each other over a decade now. It kind of sucks that, like, but she's in a foreign country, right? And she lives overseas. So it's a lot easier when you make a sort of hangout date where it's like, we're going to accomplish this stuff and we're going to do some YouTube stuff together. We're going to have a separate channel for that, obviously. But he was really cool. I made one of the things I do for dinner is I'll get chicken breast and throw it in the crock pot with a bottle of Frank's buffalo sauce and then slow cook it, and then we'll eat that for a few days as our main dish. He went and bought some ciabatta bread yesterday and put together with slices of mozzarella. He made little like buffalo chicken ciabatta sliders so that when I finally got a chance to think about dinner and food, it was already ready and done. So that was really cool. Because normally I do all the dinner stuff just because I have food restrictions at this point in my life. And it's easier if you do the cooking when you're the one with the asshole requirements. Like I would hate that. One of my exes used to always do the cooking and I'd be like, and I don't eat this and I can't eat that. And I felt like an asshole. But he was an asshole, so it all works out. So I can't wait till the day that somebody's like, he's dead, right? Because when that happens, there's a major party. You're all invited. It'll be like the end of Xanadu. I'll even find some roller skates for it. All right, background is all done.
I believe there's only one ex that I would, if I found out she was dead, that I would smile.
Aw. I feel like you've had so much better luck in relationships than I have, Lawrence. I only have one that I don't wish dead. Well, I don't wish them dead. I'm wishing for the day where they die because we all die eventually,
That's what they say. Trying to disprove that.
Wouldn't it be cool? Like, I do sometimes think, wouldn't it be cool? Like, Interview with the Vampire, perfect example. If somebody were to come to me and like, I'm gonna bite your neck and drink your blood, and then we have to make out a little, and then you will live forever. I would be in until they got to the part where like, and then you have to go and bite people and drink their blood, because I have phobias about other people's blood. So I'd be like, can't we do it some other way? Can't I like go and make fun of them and then their sadness over that?
Can we
But
make fun of their sadness?
no. Mm. Yeah. All right. So there we go. I'm done. I was a little fussier. I apologize. It's a cool picture. Like when you picked it though, I'm like, I'm gonna go too fancy with it. Because the other ones that I sent you, like I was thinking, oh god, no, I'm wrong. Because I also sent you this one. I would have gone just as fancy with that one. Same here. So never mind. This is the least fancy of the three. So good job, Lawrence. I'm good at that.
Like I said, I think that one had the most on it.
It did, but I would have but this is all the open clouds, so the little bit that this took would have taken way longer.
See, I guess I don't know what to do with the sky. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't even know what to do with the sky there.
I have to, just since we're to that point where we should be wrapping up, because it's almost the 2-hour point. Just for people watching, this is the official YouTube part. After Lawrence came last time, we had sort of the same conversation about him not being particularly artistic. But then he did really well with the crayons. And I was like, we should have you back in a few months and we'll get you slightly fancier tools. And he got some of these Crayola. Now I have to say everything a little weird. And he picked up a box of these. I have a box of these. And as you can see, he did really good. Put yours, I'm going to make you the star of the show, Lawrence. There you go.
Oh,
so show the people your picture. Oh, there we go. See, look at that. So this is a person who says he is not artistic.
But this is just coloring in the lines.
Is it? Like you have good color composition, like everything looks nice. Like how did you decide what to color those buckets? You just pick some colors that look good together.
Well, I made a mistake because when I saw you coloring the clouds, I actually picked the color that I had used on the bucket.
Yeah.
But I picked colors that I didn't use yet because I wanted to be something different.
No,
and in actuality, when I started with the green, I did 2 different greens. Yep. So I tried doing the same thing with 2 different blues.
You've got some blends in there, which is pretty cool. You made a really cool artistic choice as far as not finishing the rainbow because they're painting it. So like that's the shit you do when you're like thinking about stuff artistically. So you may not think you have artistic creativity or whatever, but you do.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that I think artistically. Yeah, I just don't know how to put things together.
Well, but you just put some stuff together artistically, and I didn't even coach you on it. So you obviously have it. So it's a long way of saying Lawrence is wrong. It happens so rarely. He does have some talent and some creativity. He'll be back in a few months, and we'll upgrade him to some slightly fancier art pencils. And I will see if maybe we'll see about getting you some of these water soluble things for the background so that you can do something fancy too. So, although we probably won't do Care Bears next time. Maybe we'll do Motu next time so everyone will tune off in like the first 5 minutes.
Trying to think of other things that are very colorful.
Yeah.
See, that's what I would want to do. I want to do something that would be colorful. That's going to have different colors.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Care Bears. It kind of well, there's so many different colors of the Care Bears. I thought about Lilo and Stitch, but I'm like, if I'm going to do Lilo and Stitch, I have to ask my daughter if she wants to come on.
Okay, so Random Diorama and Stanley's Toy Channel have 2 very good suggestions.
But I don't know anything about either one of those properties.
Which would be fun, like, because then we could pretend to be I could pretend I'm going to teach you about those properties. It never happens on these episodes. I'm always like, and then we can talk about and it never happens. We talk about everything else, but that's part of the fun, I think, of these hangouts.
I thought about the Smurfs, but everything is white and blue.
Yeah, it's true. Smurf. It's the Smurfs seem way more color, and I say that as someone who's done a couple Smurf pages for shorts. It seems way more colorful than it actually. It's just because the blue is so bright and brilliant that you're like, oh, it's all colorful. But after you remove the blue, it's not. So.
Yeah.
Power Rangers would be another good one. Yes, that's true.
But like I said, I want to do something.
Hyperdelic. Okay, so here's because Hyperdelic kind of jumped in at the end. I sent Lawrence actual G.I. Joe pages, and he wanted to do Care Bears instead because they are more colorful. Most of the G.I. Joe coloring books that are out there and that I have are prior to like 87, 88 when everything got brighter and more colorful. So it's a lot of greens, a lot of browns. So it's harder to make those. They're not as colorful, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, Lawrence wanted to actually expand beyond G.I. Joe. And my channel, episode, like, we do Care Bear stuff. So, like, I try to do all of the 80s and 90s and 70s toy stuff. So, I try not to limit it to the blue aisle or the pink aisle and just do all of it. Because that's what I did as a kid. I just played with whatever the hell I wanted to play with. And if people don't like it, they could suck a donkey. Yeah, anyway.
But the first time I was on, we did G.I. Joe.
Yeah, and that's true. And I sent you more pages from that book because I was like, well, if we do more pages, I'll have more done. And then eventually I'll have that book done and I can turn that into a video. Look at this lost story from G.I. Joe in the 80s. Roman said pound puppies. I think I might have some pound puppy stuff. So we'll find. We've got a couple. It's not like it's going to happen immediately, but by the time it happens, we'll figure out what we'll have Lawrence.
I haven't done about pound puppies in a long time.
This is the third time in like 2 weeks they've come up. So
really,
it might be the universe telling me that Hasbro's about to release a pound puppy retro line or something, or there's like a movie coming out, or the ghost of Christy Alley is gonna haunt me because she is a pound puppy. Anyway, R.I.P. Christy Alley. And I'm so mad. I know she's dead and you shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but she really pissed me off that time we got into it on Twitter. So anyway, F her. I hope she and Xenu are having a good time today. So anyway, so yeah, we should probably wrap it up. And check chat one last time. Okay, so nothing. A couple votes for pound puppies. So.
And once again, Roman is not in my room. I'm nowhere to see him.
I am not unconvinced that it's not actually Roman. Like it just because it always literally and who else watching at home would be able to guess that he's far enough away that you wouldn't, that you can't put eyes on him.
Even times when he's sitting there, he's always, and I see him in the chat, and it doesn't matter whose it is, he'll have his back to me. It's just very odd that
he's popped in for a couple of my premiere. And what's funny is because I've tried to figure out who it is because it's me. All of the people that I suspect are always in chat at the same time. And unless they have multiple computers, it would be really hard. But he'll pop up when we're all on streams together. He's popped up in the clubhouse before and everybody that I suspected is there on screen. And as far as I can tell, they're not doing anything that would indicate they're Roman. So maybe it's Roman.
He popped up on Hella Dope Toys and it was actually kind of funny because I don't think the person that was responding to him really liked me, but didn't realize that the whole Roman the dog is referring to my dog.
Yeah.
And because this guy never responds to anything I say, he never really acknowledges me. So I just don't think he really cares for me.
Yeah.
And he's like talking to Roman the dog, and I'm like, this idiot.
That's my dog, man. All right. So really quick, this is a good segue. Thank you, Eldor. And Eldor will be here with me next week. We're coloring his original art of Castle Grayskull, so please join us for that. In the meantime, Lawrence, where can the people find you?
On Instagram, you can find me at a punk with _toys. If you go to the other one, it would never get updated. I tried getting on it again. But yep, some fucking island asshole did fucking nuke it, and I will never be getting that account back. So a punk with _toys. It's the one with less subscribers than the old one. And then on YouTube, a punk with toys, every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm live for 3+ hours, all alone. Chat has a great time. People seem to enjoy what I do. And then every Thursday, we're either doing a Thursday with a friend where I talk to one person from the community that supports me. We just get to know them. It's not really toy talk. Or we do Thursday movie flashback, which this week we will be discussing They Live, as long as
Classic.
Matthew lives, because he has the vid right now, but he said he feels better. So,
Oh, poor Matthew.
and then I drop videos, review videos mostly.
And there you have it. And I think most of the people in chat, I know from your chat, so we're all the same.
I would say, looking at this, there's not too many that I don't see in my chat.
Yeah.
There's a few that you don't see too often.
But you never know. I get lurkers, so anyway. And for me, at some point this week, I have a unboxing video. My first one with Brick. It's a we basically filmed a video together because we both got Sectar figures through a Toy Anxiety drawing. Well, he got them and then he sent one to me, and then we opened them together, but he's editing the video, so I have one and he has one. So that'll be sometime this week. On Wednesday, I have my interview slash, I didn't do a typical unboxing of Death Sparrow from Delta 17. So Ken and I did an interview. That'll be on Wednesday. I'm doing a premiere for that, so join us for that. Also important about that is I got Matt to, he's dusting off his old radio announcer days, and I got him to record he's out of control for me, like a really bombastic, he's out of control, and I dropped it in the video with the special effect, and it'll probably be a short after because it's utterly ridiculous. Picture like, let's get ready to rumble, but instead he's out of control. Like, that's what I told him. Like, that was his instruction for the acting. So join us to see that. Because finally I've made it happen, and we'll put it on some shirts for Ken or whatever. It'll be my merch, but Ken's stuff. Because Ken is like, I don't know if I could do that as a shirt, but you should do it as a shirt. I'm like, yeah, I'll put your logo and put "You're Out of Control" and sell it through my store. Thanks, Ken. So I've got that. There will be on Friday another Color and Chill strawberry shortcake, I think, this week. I'm in daily shorts, and the next week I'm here with Eldor. So thank you all for hanging out. We will see you all probably tomorrow night in Lawrence's chat, and I'll pop in with my fake account to make fun of people so that you all know it's me.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I like that you still hang out with me despite your thousands of subscribers.
Well, I do have over 3,500 subscribers now, so
Yeah,
I'm almost to that point that I got to start forgetting about the little people that helped me along the way.
But if you forget about the little people, you would forget yourself.
That's very true. Maybe that's something I've been trying to do for years, though.
Well, you need to not do that. Just because you don't have a mom anymore doesn't mean you should forget about yourself, Lawrence. Anyway, all right. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone. I'm Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess, and we're out.